In this video, we're going to be looking at a way to quickly modify the range settings for a component to get much better signatures. So the situation is this. Let's add a component. You can see the circuit card that we want to do this for over here in the right-hand corner. And we'll just add in L5, which is a little inductor, probe package with one pin. And we're just going to manually probe that. And we'll click OK. So that component is now added to the tree. Now the situation is this, that when you add a new component in Huntron Workstation, it uses the default ranges that are set up in your tools and options. So you can see we've got three ranges here, all set at 3 volts and in various resistances and frequencies. So let's go ahead and scan this component. Let's type in 0, 1, 2, 3. Grab our hand probes. Click Start. See the window here, we'll click OK. And you see we've got a real-time signature down the bottom right. So let's go ahead and just go to that component. Click OK. The signatures were captured. And we'll click OK to finish that. So now we click on the Troubleshoot button to view our signatures. So if you look at these three signatures, you'll note that none of them really work very well. They all look like short circuits. Let's make that a little bit bigger. So even the low 50 ohm range here is just showing pretty much a vertical line. So none of these ranges are very useful. So how can we fix that? Well, let me show you a quick and easy way to do that. So what we'll do is, first of all, we want to get this component and range selected up in the tree. So you can right click on the signature box, any one of these, and select Sync Pin Range. That selects that range and pin and component up in the tree. Now what you would do is go to the Tracker tab and click this From Range button. What that will do is it will set the range settings here based on the settings up in the tree. So when I clicked From Range, it changed the voltage, resistance, and frequency to match what we had selected in the tree. So now what you can do is go ahead and hold your probes to that component. I'm just going to hand hold those. And then we're going to go real time. And we see there's that signature we saw earlier that at the 50 ohm range, it looks just like a short. So what we can do, since this is an inductor, we typically would want a really low resistance. So we'll go down to 10 ohms. You'll notice that it dropped to the 0.2 volt range. So we'll just bump that back up to 2 volts. And with an inductor, you need to have a high frequency. So let's try, well, let's go up to the max. Let's go to 5 kilohertz. So now you see that ellipse we would normally expect from an inductor. Let's see if we can make that a little bit better. Let's drop down to maybe 1K. Yeah, that's not quite as good. Maybe 2K. That looks pretty good. So with this range setting, this seems to be a lot better than what we had before. So now what you would do is click this Set Range button right here. And notice that the range that was selected in the tree before has now got those new range settings. So we use this Tracker tab to modify the range settings in the tree. So now we have a useful range for this particular component that gives us a good signature. At this point, now what you could do is to go ahead and delete the other two ranges, since we know that neither one of these will work very well for us. So we'll just go ahead and delete range number 1 and 2. Okay, so that's how you would modify that range. So you go ahead and scan your component again, and then at that point you could go ahead and set your reference. Now, of course, when you make these kinds of changes, you want to do this before you set any reference signatures. So that way you know that you have signatures that will work well for comparison. For users of the Huntron Access Prober, there's another way you can approach this using your prober if you want to modify the range on a selected component. So let's take a look at C96 signatures. And you see this effect from a semiconductor that's connected in parallel. So maybe you want to try to eliminate that effect and get just the elliptical shape. So what you can do, similar to what we did before, is to right-click on the signature, select Sync Pin Range, and it selects that pin and range up in the tree. And then to use the prober to get the signature, what you can do is there's a shortcut in the right-click menu, Teach Height Pin. So select that. And you notice in the prober pane, in the Teach Height tab, it selects that pin and moves the prober over the pin. So now what you can do is click the Sequence Z Down Move button, and it'll put the probe down on that pin And you can see we get a signature on the left-hand side here. So now what we'll do is go to the Tracker tab. And here's the range that we want to modify right here. And so you can click From Range. And there's the current signature. And if you take this down to the 0.2 volts, you see we get just a nice round ellipse. So now what you can do is click the Set Range button, and it modifies the range to the new setting. So now we have a new setting. So you would want to rescan and set a new reference. So hopefully these tips will be useful to you. Feel free to view other videos on the Huntron YouTube channel. And as always, thank you for watching.